What's up, Taiwan? I'm Yvonne with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. In his confirmation hearing, U.S. President Donald Trump's pick for Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has slammed Chinese AI startup DeepSeek, accusing it of stealing from the United States. It comes as the company's new chatbot sends shockwaves through the tech world and raises questions about security. Cadence Quaranta reports.
Dethroning ChatGPT, a new chatbot created by Chinese startup DeepSeek has become Apple's U.S. App Store's most popular free app. It's a development that's rocked the tech world. The company says the chatbot was launched at a fraction of the cost and with less advanced microchips than those developed by industry giants like OpenAI and Google. But many users have noticed something else. The chatbot also appears to censor itself on sensitive Chinese issues. When asked, who is Ai Weiwei, an exiled Chinese artist and activist who has been openly critical of the Chinese government, DeepSeek did generate a response, but its answer disappeared moments later, replaced with an error message and request to change the subject. This isn't surprising, given China's tight control over its internet and social media, but it is worrying to many, especially if China takes the lead in AI, with its censorship laws embedded in its models.
Chinese companies, even if they are relatively very independent, they're still within that legal structure, within that political system, and held. They're bound to expectations that go along with that. It's hard for them to escape expectations of censorship, especially around the central topics that the Chinese government is not in favor of.
Others are concerned about the risks of DeepSeek's release of its AI model as open source, meaning users can access its underlying code and modify it for their own purposes.
And so almost overnight, every AI developer in the world got access to kind of like PhD level intelligence that they could run at home.
This makes it very hard to control what the technology is used for, and it's unclear if DeepSeek has a safety research team like US AI companies. Other experts have warned that DeepSeek users' data, which its privacy policy says is stored within China, could be used by the Chinese government, echoing a concern US lawmakers have expressed about TikTok. But others say similar privacy issues exist within US AI products as well. US President Donald Trump's press secretary has also said the National Security Council is looking into the model's national security implications, and the US Navy has banned its personnel from using it. At the same time, in his confirmation hearing, Trump's Commerce Secretary nominee accused DeepSeek of stealing from the US to launch its new model.
How could it be more clear than this week when DeepSeek, a Chinese AI, says they were able to create things dirt cheap? How? By leveraging what they've taken from us, stolen from us, or leveraged from us. It's outrageous, and it needs to be addressed.
Lutnick says he wants to put more restrictions on China, adding to existing export controls that limit China's access to advanced chips. But security concerns are not stopping users from testing out the new chatbot, which many say works as well as or even better than ChatGPT. John Su and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
A commercial airliner was destroyed by fire at an airport in Busan, South Korea. The Air Busan flight was awaiting departure to Hong Kong on Tuesday night when it caught fire. Flames engulfed the Airbus A321, but authorities say all 176 people on board were safely evacuated. Investigators are trying to determine the cause of the fire. The incident comes nearly a month after a Jeju air flight crashed upon landing in South Korea, killing 179 people on board. The world's largest religious gathering has turned deadly after a stampede killed at least 30 people in northern India. Harak Hughes reports.
Ranjani Kumari waits outside the morgue in Prayagraj, northern India, waiting to pick up the body of her 21-year-old daughter, Sanam. Sanam was one of at least 30 people killed at the world's largest religious gathering, the Kumbh Mela festival, when a surge in the crowds became deadly.
इतना जाम कर दिया कि सब लोग त्राह करने लगे लगा सब लोग खत्म हो जाएंगे ऐसा जाम किया उसके बाद बच्ची चिल्लाई माँ जी बचाओ माँ जी बचाओ लेकिन हम खुद जाम में थे हम बचा नहीं पाए बच्ची चप के मर गई
The Kumbh Mela festival is held every 12 years and is one of the holiest events for followers of Hinduism. This year's festival is expected to draw a staggering 400 million people, the largest gathering of humans on the planet. Authorities estimate 90 to 100 million people were at the site on the festival's most auspicious day to bathe at the junction of three sacred rivers, the Ganges, Yamuna, and Saraswati. When crowds broke through barricades, trampling those resting on the riverbanks.
अरे वही मान लो चीख पुकार चिल्लाना अरे बहुत वहाँ तो बहुत ज़्यादा थी एकदम से कोई रो रहा कोई चिल्ला रहा कोई बेहोश हो रहा है अरे बहुत ज़्यादा बिल्कुल ऐसी थी मगर हम लोग तो कहो संत के बगले में थे थोड़ा किनारे थे मगर हम लोग कहो निकल के थोड़ा किनारे आ गए.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called the stampede extremely sad and said the ritual bathing was halted.
मैं प्रभावित परिवारों के प्रति संवेदना व्यक्त करता हूं और घायलों के जल्द स्वस्थ होने की कामना करता हूं.
Officials have ordered a judicial inquiry into the incident amid allegations of mismanagement and poor handling by the police. And as dozens are treated for injuries, families wait to hear the news of those still missing. And worshippers are now able to return to bathe in the sacred waters. Delphine Chen and Harel Hughes for TaiwanPlus.
A once powerful Democratic senator has been sentenced to 11 years in prison for taking bribes. Bob Menendez of New Jersey chaired the Senate Foreign Relations Committee for over a decade. He was known for his strong support for Taiwan, introducing numerous pro-Taiwan bills over the years. He was convicted last July of accepting bribes in exchange for aiding foreign governments, including Egypt. During the sentencing, Menendez reportedly broke down crying and asked for leniency. But outside the courthouse, he sounded a defiant tone.
Welcome to the Southern District of New York, the Wild West of political prosecutions. President Trump is right. This process is political and it's corrupted to the core. I hope President Trump cleans up the cesspool and restores the integrity to the system. Thank you.
Menendez is set to begin his sentence in June. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed a bill making it easier for federal officials to detain and deport undocumented immigrants. The Laken-Riley Act was spearheaded by House Republicans but received support from 46 Democrats when it passed last week. The legislation is named after a Georgia nursing student who was killed last year by a man who did not have legal status in the U.S. It allows officials to expel undocumented migrants who are suspected of a broad range of crimes, even if they haven't been charged.
Under the law I'm signing today, the Department of Homeland Security will be required to detain all illegal aliens who have been arrested for theft, burglary, larceny, shoplifting, assaulting a police officer, murder, or any crime that results in death or serious injury.
The new law comes as the Trump administration carries out a nationwide crackdown on immigration, including the arrest of hundreds of people in raids. Finning sharks has been illegal in Taiwan for over a decade, but shark fin soup continues to be a Lunar New Year delicacy in Taiwan and the wider region. For more on the ethical and environmental effects of the shark fin trade, Wes Lewis spoke with investigative reporter and founder of the Outlaw Ocean Project, Ian Urbina.
Can you explain what shark finning is and how it impacts the environment?
So shark finning is a process where when sharks are caught either intentionally or unintentionally, you cut off the fins, but normally you throw away the rest of the animal, largely because the meat of the body there's not a big market for it. But the fins are prized. Shark fin soup is, this kind of delicacy that, especially in the last decades, has been very popular at big festivals, at weddings, and kind of banquets. It's a real concern because this specific delicacy is a major driver of the decline in shark stocks around the world.
Last year, a Taiwanese fishing vessel was caught with over 6 tons of blue shark fins, despite finning being outlawed in the country for over a decade. And similar cases have happened across the world. Have anti-finning laws been effective in suppressing the trade at all?
Busts that seize large amounts of shark fins are common. Normally, that's because the sale is a very black market sale, and it's often transacted at sea from ship to ship. Laws in the last decade have been passed to criminalize this. In many places, those laws have loopholes where, for example, if a fisher, a boat captain says that this shark was caught incidentally, meaning not on purpose, it happened to grab on a line that was aimed at tuna, then the captain is in many places allowed to keep the shark or the shark fin. And that loophole has meant that good laws have not been as effective as they should be.
And what about the crew on fishing vessels? How does the shark finning trade impact them?
There's a really interesting worker rights, labor, human rights issue tied to the shark finning issue, which is that because on many distant water fishing vessels, Chinese and others, Taiwanese as well, South Korean, especially Asian vessels, the commerce and capture of sharks is often an off-books side gig that is allowed and even written up in contracts, whereby the sharks that are netted or hooked are often allowed to be finned and kept by the deckhands, who are paid below market slave wages. So there is a weird kind of way in which this particular black market product is plugged into the sea slavery concern and the really, really abysmal human rights and labor conditions of these crews, because it's used by captains and companies to sort of justify slave wages.
That was Ian Urbina of the Outlaw Ocean Project. A creek in rural Hsinchu County is seeing a drop in water quality as a string of development projects send mud and silt flowing downstream. But a group of local young people is trying to raise awareness and maybe help reverse the damage through a series of guided tours. John Van Trieste reports.
This little creek in northern Taiwan is at the center of a grassroots eco-campaign. It's a place locals in rural Hsinchu County's Emei Township have long been coming to, both for their daily needs and recreation. But the water here is getting murkier as developers start work on an 82-hectare site nearby. The plan is to build 5 big projects, including a retirement community and an industrial park. The effects are already showing.
虾虎会把蛋生在这石头底下，然后会粘在上面。上游在开发，泥土会冲下来，它会覆盖到这个石头。因为它不能呼吸，蛋会不能呼吸，它就会死掉。
This band of young locals has taken to organizing guided trips out here to spread the word and share the area's beauty.
带很多人一起进来认识这条溪流，其实就形成了那个关心的力量。那也让大家知道说这条溪流是有人在看顾的，有人在守住的这样。
There are even hopes to further protect this waterway.
希望是那条溪，我作为我，中正村的亲子的亲水公园。小孩子现在在玩水几乎都没有机会。
Which would not only preserve the area for more human recreation, but also keep it habitable for the fish, insects, and birds that call it home. Andy Xue and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Follow us on social media for more of our stories. Finally, check out these images of the Scottish Viking Festival, where attendees lit torches and set fire to a replica Viking ship. I'm Yvonne Young. Take care, and I'll see you next time.